Welcome to the Promova podcast, where language learning meets fun and discovery. We've split it into two rubrics: Pro, which stands for professional in English, and Mova, which means language in Ukrainian. The Mova part will be led by me. I'm Kate. I'm your language learning expert here at Promova. This rubric will be all about learning English, covering grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and everything else related to making the learning process easier and more enjoyable. Whether you're a beginner or looking to fine-tune your language skills, we've got you covered. We've got all the useful language learning tips, and you've got the power to hit that subscribe button. For those of you joining us for the first time, Promova is your app for making English learning fun through things like bite-sized lessons, flashcards, videos, and quizzes. Our goal is to make understanding English a piece of cake, or should I say dessert, which brings us to our first pair of the words which are often confused. First pair of words. Dessert with two letters S is a sweet treat like cake, ice cream, or pie that you eat after dinner. Remember, dessert has two letters S because you always want more. As my grandma always says, there's always room for dessert. Desert with one S is a hot, dry, sandy place like the Sahara with little rain or vegetation. You definitely don't want to get lost in the desert without water. Some other examples for dessert. My favorite dessert is chocolate cake with strawberries, which is not true. My favorite dessert is ice cream. And desert, the Sahara Desert, is the largest hot desert in the world. In today's episode, we're tackling a topic that often trips up English learners: words which are easily confused. You know, these annoying words that sound similar but have completely different meanings. Get ready to sharpen your language skills as we explore some common pairs like receipt and recipe, lie and lay, and many more. Let's clear up the confusion once and for all. Before we delve into our first set of words, let's establish some ground rules. Rule number 1, don't panic. Confusing words are just like puzzles waiting to be solved. Rule number 2, pay attention to context. Understanding how a word is used in a sentence can often provide clues to its meaning. And rule number 3, practice makes perfect. The more you encounter and use these words, the easier it becomes to distinguish between them. Now, let's tackle our second pair of words: receipt and recipe. Receipt is a piece of paper that shows you've paid for something, like when you buy groceries at a store or a movie ticket. Always keep your receipts in case you need to return something. On the other hand, a recipe is a set of instructions for cooking a particular dish. So, if you're baking a cake, you'll need a recipe, not a receipt. Imagine you're at a grocery store. You hand the cashier your items, and you receive a receipt showing your total. Later, you decide to bake a cake, so you follow a recipe that guides you through the steps. See the difference? Third pair of words. Let's move on to our next pair: lie and lay. Lie means to be in a horizontal position on a surface, while lay means to put something in a horizontal position. Here's a helpful tip. Lie is something you do to yourself, while lay is something you do to something else. I like to lie down and read a book before bed. Please lay the dishes on the table for dinner. Fourth pair of words. Next, we have childlike and childish. Childlike means pleasantly innocent and honest in a positive way. Remember, that's something positive. Childish, on the other hand, means annoyingly silly and immature, so that's something negative. A couple of examples for you. She has a childlike wonder and curiosity about the world. His behavior was childish, throwing a tantrum over a simple disagreement. Fifth pair of words. Moving on to empathy and apathy. Empathy is the ability to understand other people's feelings and problems. In other words, to put yourself in their shoes. Apathy is a lack of interest, concern, or enthusiasm, the opposite of empathy. Too much apathy can be seen as coldness. Empathy is about connection, while apathy is about indifference. Some examples for you. Showing empathy towards others can strengthen relationships. His apathy towards the project was evident in his lack of effort. Some funny situations. Mixing up easily confused words can lead to some humorous situations, providing plenty of laughter along the way. Picture this. A guest eagerly enjoying a mouth-watering meal, and then, instead of complimenting the host and asking for the recipe to recreate the dish, they accidentally inquire about the receipt, as if they're expecting to pay for the delightful feast. It can be quite amusing, but also potentially offensive for the host. Or imagine a friend inviting you over to help them move furniture. As you're arranging the sofa, your friend says, "Could you please lie it down over there?" You pause, wondering if they're asking you to take a nap on the sofa instead, or placing it horizontally. Practice time. Now that we've explored these words, which are easily confused, it's time for some practice. We're going to show you a set of sentences featuring the words we discussed. Try to determine the correct word to fill in each blank. Feel free to pause the video and take your time with each sentence. Practice time. Now that we've explored these words which are easily confused, it's time for some practice. Here is a set of sentences featuring the words we've just discussed. Try to determine the correct word to fill in each blank. Feel free to pause the video and take your time with each sentence. Once you've filled in the blanks, share your answers in the comments below. Let's see how well you've mastered these words. And now let's engage in a different type of exercise, matching pairs. Let's solidify your understanding. Here, there's a list of words which are easily confused, along with their definitions. Your task is to match each word with its correct definition. Feel free to pause the video if you like. Good! We've covered a lot of ground today. The key is to look closely at the exact spelling and meaning in context. Keep practicing using these words correctly, and it will become your second nature. Let me know what other pairs of words you struggle with in the comments. If you found this episode helpful, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more language learning tips, tricks, insights, and things like that. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new lesson. Join our vibrant community on Instagram for daily language challenges, fun quizzes, and supportive discussions. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or any other podcast platform, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could give us a 5-star rating and leave a review. Your feedback helps us improve and reach more language learners like you. Goodbye. Until next time. Happy learning! Oh, I hope it was okay.